and WNST.net. We're here at Facebook Live and out on our YouTube WNSTV channel. I've got the funny hat on, and we're having fun. This guy joins me pretty much anytime I ask, right? I mean,
for the most part,
you're kind to me, Solomon. Well, there are some nights when I see you, because you do a lot of our games. I mean,
yeah,
you know, and I see you, and you're like, I got to fly home tonight. Hit me tomorrow afternoon. And it's always so much fun talking to you because the insights. And you're here for an important reason. We're going to talk some football and stuff, but I know you're running table to table talking about the players that play the games and their safety and their longevity and their livelihood, the rest of their life.
Yeah, and many of them died of complications involving CTE, and usually it's diagnosed posthumously after someone has passed away. But now there are new breakthroughs that are showing that there are these biomarkers that can allow for testing to be done in living patients. And we think that's exciting news to share with everyone. And that's why I teamed up with Jim Joyce of Athlon Medical. They have a diagnostic subsidiary, Exosome Sciences, and they've come with some really good breakthroughs. And Jim,
you're a Maryland guy, so let's start with that.
First off, he's a smart guy. That's
where
right.
Are you from?
Grew up in Gaithersburg.
Gaithersburg. All right, so, home, right? You're a Redskin guy, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see. We don't like that around here. It's a Colt Redskin thing here, old school. So tell me about what you do. And, look, a lot of people in our audience have seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, you've seen some little docu-feature thing, ESPN. If you're interested, there are some people, fans want to stick their head in the sand and play fantasy and, tailgate. But there are a lot of people that idolize football players. And John Mackey, what we saw in Baltimore, what I saw as a friend, and I think everybody in the Colts community saw.
Frightening to watch.
It is. Well, I think it's frightening anytime there's an Alzheimer's. I've had a lot of friends and family, battle that. And, this is a tough game, right? I mean, nothing's going to make this thing really safe.
No, I don't think you can only advance technology to a certain point to protect the players. But the reality is we came at this kind of from an interesting area. At Athlon Medical, our primary focus is developing therapeutics for infectious disease and cancer. But as a tie back to Maryland, in 2009, a former high school and teammate of mine, Tom McHale, teammate at Maryland, was the second person diagnosed with CTE through autopsy by the Boston University CTE Center. And at that time, I reached out to the Boston University group to discuss how we could advance the potential identification of a biomarker. We started examining brains of former players, looking for a biomarker.
Now, what year is this? This is recent.
This is 2009.
Yeah.
But in approximately 3 years ago, our researchers discovered a biomarker that we were invited to test in the first NIH-funded study to look at CTE in former NFL players. And in that study, it was revealed that this biomarker could identify the levels of the biomarker, we call it a talzome, were significantly higher, on average 9 times higher in former NFL players as compared to same age group subjects.
Baseline.
Yeah, as compared to same age group subjects that were former athletes that participated in sports that didn't involve head trauma. And we also distinguished that individuals, based on cognitive decline testing, that there was a direct correlation between the level of these talzomes and cognitive decline. The higher the level, the worse the cognitive decline. So we're here at the Super Bowl to prepare to initiate a follow-on study to further validate this biomarker, because what's crucial to understand is that until you have a biomarker that exists to identify the disease and monitor progression of the disease, it's not possible to evaluate candidate therapies.
Oh, okay, so you want to get these guys tested when? I mean, at what point should someone be thinking about this from a player standpoint?
Yeah, so there's different misconceptions about CTE, but thanks to research like groups at the Boston University group at Mayo Clinic, it's starting to reveal that CTE is not necessarily driven solely by concussions, that in fact it is an accumulation of subconcussive repetitive blows over long periods of time that seems to be the hallmark of the disease. And Tom himself was somebody never diagnosed with a concussion, and he kind of opened up researchers to look at the fact that, is this specific to concussions only? And that is not the case now. It's what we're seeing is that players understand there needs to be a biomarker, but also this disease is not prevalent in the normal population of individuals has never been diagnosed in somebody that didn't participate in activity that involved head trauma. So that means the population of people that suffer from this condition is very limited, which in turn means that medical technology companies, from a business standpoint, in general, don't have a limited interest to pursue solutions from a diagnostic and therapeutic standpoint. So
there's not enough victims to warrant
that's right.
The money behind the science.
That's right, and we're trying to accelerate the process.
Now that's kind of incredible to me because I'm hearing about little girls with playing soccer and heading soccer balls. That is just as detrimental, maybe perhaps more so given at a formative age, that this is going on throughout, all sports where your head's involved.
Right.
Whether it's, I got conked in the head a couple times as a kid. Maybe that explains it. It certainly explains the hat. But, I played baseball, I played football, and, at one point I remember, somebody swinging a bat in the dugout, and I got like, wow, what the heck happened there? And that's when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. I don't know how that affects things, but were you involved with Nowinski, or is that same study or different studies?
Chris
yes.
is at the Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Now, he's been, here for years, every year bringing us up to speed, and I find the acceleration of the interest in this, especially over the last 5 years, where Hollywood's making huge movies. And then the public gets involved.
Yeah, I mean,
then it becomes a conversation.
But again, you go back to the movie you're referencing the Concussion movie, which helps drive a lot of misconception that this is really a concussion-related issue. Concussions can contribute to it, but the research now indicates that this is an accumulation of subconcussive blows, long periods of time where individuals have been suffering
like a smoker
blows.
To their lungs.
Exactly.
Right. Jim Joyce is here, former Denver Bronco and University of Maryland term. Claiborne era?
First couple years, Jerry Claiborne. Last couple years, Bobby Ross.
I've been doing this a long time, Solly.
I
Come on,
see.
man.
I can
I've
see.
been around the block a little bit.
like it.
This morning, I started off today with Boomer.
Were you like Blue Bonnet Bowl? Is that there?
No. We were Florida Citrus Bowl, Aloha Bowl.
I remember that.
Tangerine Bowl.
You played Tennessee a couple times, I think, right?
Well, last game of career. In fact, it was last game I played with Tom McHale.
Was that like a Sun Bowl thing, or what was that?
That was the year after I was gone. But
they're all running together, Solly. I would tell you. Oh, look, these.
How about that?
Give me this. I'll put this up here on the camera. There you go.
There you go.
We got to get you in the shot, man. You're not in the shot. I got to move you around, but
you set up the shot.
I know, man.
You made sure
he
that
moved
hat
on me. These linemen.
You made sure that hat was in there, though. We got the hat in there.
Come on, back up.
Remember that?
You guys are Turk, man. There you go.
He's a Maryland Turk.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, there you go. All right, so for you guys, as guys, how long was your career, and how many times did you engage in a hard practice, a game? For CTE and for the worry of people like me is for people like you. And I have seen a few players now of my era in the 21 years that are in their 40s and struggling. And you start to see the beginning. I've seen some very disturbing things recently. And it worries me for all of you, quite frankly. So Solly, on a personal level, how do you feel about it?
There are concerns. We're all concerned about our health. We try to eat
right.
We try to work out. Absolutely. We try to take care of ourselves. Every time I meet with former players, the first thing we do, we look at each other. We kind of, you size each other. How you feel? How you doing? And kind of go over that.
300 or 400 guys you played football with, right? At least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not quite as touchy as Solomon when it's his former players.
But, we're all checking each other out. But then the cognitive health is something that maybe we don't think about enough. And I think in light of all the information that's coming forward when it comes to CTE, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and all those things that can affect us, that, let's be honest, we didn't sign up for. We knew we were going to play football. we knew there were some inherent risks. But many of us didn't stop to think about some of the issues as it pertains to our cognitive health, our mental health. We knew that physically we were putting ourselves in harm's way. We were able, to negotiate that. But, now, there is those concerns are out there. We try to take as good a care of ourselves as we possibly can. But yet I think learning more and having more information.
Flex.
Yeah.
Every year. I come every year. We talk every year.
Right.
The Patriots are here.
That's right.
That's right. I I haven't. He's
like
39 years old. I mean, you know how
Doesn't
you
look
felt
like
at 39. I know how I felt when I was 39. This is an incredible thing that's going on here, and I've asked everyone the same question: how are they cheating this year? But we'll find that out 2 or 3 years
Sooner or later, I think we just got to figure out they are good. They are good, no doubt. And this quarterback is special. When I spoke with Tom, I think it was about a year ago, because he had begun to talk about, hey, I plan to play well into my 40s. And I said, how can you be so sure? You seem to be confident.
This is
when
a tough
you say
game.
that,
Things can end quickly.
And you know what? He talked about the science of taking care of his body and how he eat right. He does eat right, and the core strengthening and some of the things that he does to take care of himself. He said that his arm feels better and stronger at 38, 39 years old than it did in his 20s. And when you look at the regimen in terms of his daily diet, his exercise habits, and the way that he takes care of himself. And if Tom walked in the room right now, everyone would stop and like, wow, he's an impressive-looking person, particularly in terms of how he takes care of himself. And you're watching the way that he plays. There's only 2 quarterbacks in the league over the last 2 years who have thrown 4 or fewer interceptions in each of the last 2 years. Tom Brady's done that each of the last 2 years. Sam Bradford is the other.
Well, he had 4 games he couldn't throw an interception in this year.
At the end of the day. But yet he still has his team in the winning circle. I mean, that tells you something about him.
The thing that pisses us off so much is how easy they make it look. I mean, it's not easy. Ask any of these head coaches.
It's not easy to make the Pittsburgh Steelers defense look like that. It's not easy to shut down Antonio Brown and make him look human. It's not easy to shut down Le'Veon Bell. But you're right. They get it done. And now they have 2 weeks to prepare for this game, which kind of scares you a little bit.
It should. It should. Solomon Wilcox joining us here. Jim Joyster here to talk about CTE, but we're talking some football as well. Luke, I know you got football questions. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about the other team. There is another team playing in this game. It's amazing, Solomon.
Right.
This is an offense that if you look at it, and look, it's a regular season. Everyone's defined by what you do in January and early February, but this is a Falcons team that historically stacks up there offensively with some of the all-time greats. So I guess as much as we've talked about New England, make your argument for if the Falcons do win Sunday, what do you think happens?
They're able to run the football.
Okay.
And they're going to run it 30 or more times. And Devontae Freeman is going to be effective running the ball in between the tackles. And he and his backfield mate, Tevin Coleman, are going to be very good at isolating against Patriot linebackers and catching the ball out of the backfield and creating yards after the catch. Julio Jones will make enough catches so that maybe Mohamed Sanu gets one-on-one opportunities, and he will win. And that get to Tom Brady.
Sure.
They're going to have to be able to hit him and move him off his spot if the Falcons are going to win this game.
No, Solomon asked us to put all the data into our proprietary scientific algorithms, and it spits out.
That's right.
You hit Tom Brady, Falcons win.
Makes sense.
And you know what?
Easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, but we all know that's what the Giants
Sure.
were able to do in the 2 Super Bowls when they were able to beat the Patriots. It is, I think, and Jim's right, that's that Maryland degree coming in handy for him. You know, he's right. If you get to Tom Brady, your chances of winning go sky high.
And I think it's really that interior pressure because
Absolutely.
getting to him on the edge, the way the ball comes out
That's
so quick.
not real pressure.
It's tough.
He steps up in the pocket.
It's tough. Right.
Just a guy running by.
And I mean,
right?
you could beat the man and the ball's still out.
That's
so.
right. That's right.
You know, in Baltimore, we did it with so many special players. When you talk about how Brady took care of his body, Shannon Sharp was the most maniacal. He had little compartments for his tuna, and and he would pull
It's
it out and show
in a
it to us.
tackle box. He'd bring
You know,
it all
I mean,
in.
and he was getting toward the end of his career when he came to Baltimore. And Rob Woodson, those guys, and they taught Ray how to take care of his body.
They
But
taught
we
Ray.
did it in Baltimore with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and all these Hall of Fame players over 17 years. The cast of characters
You guys are spoiled.
that Tom Brady has
Tell me.
had.
Yeah.
It really is, because I don't think Joe Flacco could take the rest of his offense and do it like this, or even Matt Ryan, that this is really –
Yeah.
And what Manning did in making it look easy 7 or 8 years ago and being that general who conducted the orchestra, Brady's that guy now.
But and you know what? And Brady will tell you that he's been the beneficiary of being in the very same offense for 17 years. That's
Never had to learn a new language.
That's not something. I mean, you know, hey, I like Joe Flacco. You know how I'm a Joe Flacco fan. How many offensive coordinators has he had in just the last 5 years?
5.
Thank you.
Ding, ding, ding,
now,
ding, ding.
that
You're a
is
winner.
not the recipe for winning. That's not the recipe for consistency. And that's what you got to appreciate with the Patriots is the consistency, the environment, the architecture in terms of their culture allows players to play at a high level, allows players like a Malcolm Butler to develop and become one of the top cornerbacks in this league despite coming out of the middle of nowhere. Tom Brady wasn't a high pedigree first round pick, first overall selection in the draft. He's a former 6th-round pick. But when you have an environment for the ability to develop players, which means you're not changing and tweaking systems, and no, it's already in there. It's baked in the cake. That's why you can have a high level of success. A lot of other organizations ought to take a look at that. I think the Ravens are one of the best. They understand consistency.
Well, we've only had one
There's no
guy
doubt.
pick every player in the history of the organization.
That's right.
Literally, you can't get any more consistent
But
than
the
that.
coaching and the teaching and the development of those players, that's at another level.
Couch joining us here, Jim Joyce, former Bronco and Terp as well, talking about the study. Just a full circle on this. What does the next 2 to 5 years look like with what you're doing and where you're going and your goals?
Sure. Well, think of CTE. There's a series of diseases that are neurological conditions called tauopathies. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, they're a form of tauopathies. So is CTE. It's all of these diseases are related to an abnormal accumulation of tau protein in the brain. So the reason we think it's important to accelerate the research programs, clinical studies for a biomarker, is if we can show a correlation of this biomarker with disease progression, we might be able to qualify NFL players to participate in the pipeline of clinical studies that are ongoing today, therapeutic studies related to inhibiting the progression of tau protein. These studies are primarily focused on Alzheimer's patients today.
So you think this can be slowed down, the damage?
We think there's a pipeline of from drug companies, anti-tau therapies that are being advanced for Alzheimer's patients, but again, they're designed to inhibit the progression of accumulation of tau in the brain. Unfortunately, NFL players without a biomarker can't qualify for participation in these programs. So we're trying to cut off maybe half a decade of time to be able to accelerate the pace of getting a biomarker in place to qualify former players to participate in these clinical programs.
Well, it's good work you guys are doing, and I know you have an intimate interest having been involved in this, and all of your peers who are involved in this. So you're all sort of interconnected. It's always great to see you, man.
That's always great.
Any chance this Falcons can win?
There is a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave you all those permutations, but there is a chance. Might be slim, but
slim. All right. So
that's right.
I see how
Goliath
you do it.
has been slain a time or two, and it could happen again.
Well,
right?
If there's a God,
you're
if there's a
like,
God.
No way you want Patriots win this guy. I mean, can't you just feel it oozing out of Ness, right?
It's
He's anti-Patriot.
He rooted for the Steelers in the AFC Championship.
No, that's going on. Look at
That's what I think,
You're
Solly.
going for the team in your division against the Patriots. Your hatred for the Patriots
Hate's
is
a strong
Yeah,
word.
hate's a strong word. Your dislike, your
So-
strong
it's-
dislike.
It's
I don't
hate
know
with
if
this guy.
I don't know if you know.
I know he's backing away from me.
Do you read the
on this
papers?
thing.
They cheat. They cheat.
That's what I've
I
heard
don't
of
like
that.
cheaters.
Yeah, I don't have any evidence of that, but I have heard about it.
Right. All right.
I've only
so-
heard about it.
I've heard that
Tom
story.
Brady doesn't cheat, though. Tom Brady doesn't cheat. Oh, he goes out beat. Tell me how Tom Brady cheats. You think he's in some room with
Now I
some
got it. Now I
needle,
got 'em all
with some
fired
needle, sticking a needle in a ball? Go ask Flacco. Go ask any quarterback. What is your game day preparation? It doesn't involve sneaking in some broom closet, sticking a needle in balls. I'm just. They got a lot to worry about, Quarterbacks in the NFL got a lot to worry about, got a lot to control. It's not sticking some needle in balls.
Who says I don't
Just
bring out
putting
the
it out
best
there.
in my guests? Solomon Wilcox, Jim
I love
Joyce.
you, man.
The Buy a Toyota Audio Vault has everything you'll miss here. Nasty WNST.net finds me. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.